You over at INS. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
I hope you're enjoying the festival.
Very much.
Great. So, let's start with the basics. So, how did you develop your interest in literary translation? I think it comes from reading Marquez.
Yeah, you must have read that story
Yeah.
several times. Yeah. It was back in college when I realized that translation was a very distinct activity.
Right.
I think before that we used to take it for, many of us used to take it for granted.
Right.
That fine, there's this book I'm reading, sure it was written in another language, but there was actually a process involved, somebody sitting down and doing it. Only came home to me in some miraculous fashion after reading 100 pages.
Okay. And how has been the journey after that?
Well, initially it was an interest in translation as a literary activity. I was a student of literature.
Right.
And in the process of studying translation and guessing at what it did to the text, I tried a little bit of my own. But it was really more to understand translation rather than to actually translate, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
My interest was not so much in the practice as in using the practice to understand the process.
Okay.
But after I left college and we started a city magazine in Calcutta, we decided one of the things we would do, because it was an English magazine, but Calcutta, like many other cities, every other city I imagine, and more so at that time, was obviously very rooted in the Bengali language.
Yeah.
So one of the things we wanted to do was, because we had this huge wealth of Bengali literature, to translate Bangla short stories into English.
Okay.
So that's how the practice began.
Right. In the past decade or so, we've seen translations coming of age, winning major awards across the country. So how do you look at that? People like you and Jerry Pinto are bringing it to the forefront, getting to read Indian writers in different languages.
So, well, luckily it's no longer just 2 or 4 or 5 translators. There's
Yes.
so many of us now. And I think it's the best thing that could have happened to the literature of India, really. Because it's now bringing voices from any part of the country to everybody else everywhere.
Yeah.
So you're no longer imprisoned in that little island of yours.
Right.
And there are so many good translators who are emerging.
Right.
And you realize that Indians are natural translators. We live in at least 2 languages, all of us, in any case.
Yes.
And those of us, I believe everyone in India can be a translator.
Okay.
We're naturally attuned, living a biliterate life. So at least a biliterate in some cases.
Right.
So I think it's brilliant, and look at what we are reading. So I think 2 things have happened. One, of course, we are reading now literature that we would normally not have read.
Yeah.
So you're reading Malayalam literature and Tamil literature at the same time as Kashmiri and Assamese. And the other thing is that it has also expanded the idea of literature in English in India.
Right.
By bringing all these books into the English language, you suddenly have a situation where all these things that were once on the edges, and now they're going closer and closer to the center.
Right.
And Indian writing in English is now one of the many forces that occupy that space. Earlier it was the only one, right?
Right.
But now you have all these other things, and necessarily there are very different kinds of literature and different kinds of books and different kinds of writing.
Right.
So we are truly now seeing the diversity of the cultural diversity of the country in linguistic expressions.
Exactly. You are teaching at Ashoka. Now several private universities have started a writing program. So what do you feel about that? How effective?
So all universities that follow the European pedagogic model have a writing program which is actually nothing to do with creative writing.
Right.
The writing program is to inculcate the skills of academic writing in students, and very often these cannot come only out of the classroom. So you have a separate center and a separate bunch of tutors doing this.
Right.
But creative writing as a discipline, not too many universities have started. A few have, including Ashoka, where it is a minor. It is a great thing because of many reasons. One, of course, it allows students to find out if they are writers or not.
Right.
I think many people think they are writers.
Yes.
But here's a chance to find out if they are writers. 2, it gets them back into reading.
Right.
Which is fantastic. 3, it creates a community of writers. So, there's greater strength. You're no longer working in isolation. And 4, even if you don't want to be a writer, the fact that you are expressing yourself in a different way actually improves your writing no matter what you're using it for. Even as academics, you're better writers.
Right.
Because you're writing stories and poems and novels and narrative non-fiction and so on.
Right. So, as a translator, is it tough not to leave your signature in a book?
No, I don't think so. Maybe people who also consider themselves writers in their own right might be sort of, they might be wondering how do I step back? Can I step back? And there's conscious stepping back, and then there's unconscious stepping back.
Okay.
For people like me who have neither the talent nor the ambition to make it as writers of our own works, we are very happy translating, and we have no style. We take up the style of the the thinking of the writer.
Right.
So I think I imagine for Jerry, I admire him so much because he is both such a fantastic writer in his own right and a brilliant translator.
Right.
So he really has a much tougher balancing act.
Yeah. True. And what are you doing right now? What are you working on?
I'm working on a book of autobiographical essays by Shankar, whose Chorongi was the first novel I translated. So he won the Sahitya Academy Award for this book. He wrote these essays between the ages of about 70 and 80, roughly over a 10-year period, and they covered his life, looking backwards at his life from the age of 70. He didn't write a book, it's not a single narrative arc, I was born and this is where I am, but it's vignettes from different parts of his life. And it adds up to a beautiful memoir kind of offering.
Right. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Sinha.
Thank you very much.
It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.